agree with.
Let's call the meeting to order. First item of business is election officers. We'll hand that over to Chris to handle.
Okay. So every year the board has to elect officers. So I guess we start with the first role of president. We need a nomination.
I nominate Ken Barrett as president.
Okay.
I second that.
Okay. Sorry, I'm making sure I capture who's first and second. Sorry. All right. So we have first and second. All in favor?
I'll say
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, for secretary.
All right, for secretary, any nominations?
I'll nominate Beth.
I'll second it.
What do I have to do? Randy always took the notes.
Sign the minutes.
Okay.
So, for secretary, we have Beth Pishker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And
You stuck with it.
the next role is treasurer. Any nominations for treasurer?
You want
You
it?
want to do it? Yeah, go for it.
I'll do it. Just
I nominate Davis Bush for treasurer.
I'll second it.
Okay, so Davis Bush for treasurer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
All right,
Wonderful.
let's get started. List of purchase orders.
Do we want to start with the minutes?
Oh, yeah. Should've done that. Minutes of the previous meeting, held December 27th.
I motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I second.
Motion second that we approve the minutes as presented. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Purchase orders.
There are 3 purchase orders. We have one purchase order for $4,863.91 for Weir's Trucking. It's for steering assembly for truck 5. It's one of our crew trucks, goes out and does main brakes and that kind of work. Then we have another purchase order for tires for our Bobcat forklift that's out at our plant for $890.40 from Flanagan Tire. And then we have another PO for Flanagan Tire. This is tires for truck, it is all tires for truck 7 for a total of $676.28.
I'll make a motion to accept the list of purchase orders as written.
I second it.
Second that we approve the purchase orders as written. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bad debt list. Not too bad this month.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Someone like to move to,
I make a motion to accept the bad debt list
As written,
as written.
and I accept it.
for bookkeeping purposes only.
Yes, for bookkeeping purposes only.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, financials. Chris?
Just go over the cash flow on page 2 real quick. We took in a total of $595,605 in receipts, and we spent $399,732 in disbursements, not counting our monthly transfers. So our cash dropped a little bit to $600,445.82. So we were headed back up, but with the stopping of the turnoffs, we dropped a little bit again. Go on to page 3. Nothing out of the ordinary too much on here. Notice our penalties is in the hole again. We haven't been charging them, and we gave somebody credit, so that's why you're seeing that. Our service charges are a little bit lower than forecast and quite a bit lower than the prior year. Our general line is a little bit on the high side, but we had some membership dues in there, boiler repairs, professional services for Arcadis, and we bought uniforms for the workers, so that I'll kind of bump that up a little bit. Left us with an operating loss for the month of $53,637, but our forecast is actually going to show a loss of $45,000, so we're not too far off. If we jump to page 4, our payroll for the month is quite a bit lower, but there was only 2 payrolls in November this year. The prior year had 3, so that's why you see the big difference there. Our contracted services line is up quite a bit, which is for the same items I mentioned on the previous page with the Arcadis and the boiler repair. Everything else is pretty close to normal. Our miscellaneous, we got a little bit in there for CDL license we paid for an employee, and we had our membership dues fell on that line as well. And I was going to point out on page 6, the second account, that service reserve, we had, according to our bond documentation, we had to fund this for 5 years. And December is actually going to be the end of that. So we'll see this, one more payment into this account, and then it's going to just sit there until our bonds are paid off, but we won't have to be putting the $14,400 in there anymore.
Is that all the bonds?
What's that?
All of our bonds? All of our bonds?
Correct. This is for the 15 bonds, this account, so 15 refunding.
All right.
But other than that, unless anybody has any questions, that's all I've got.
Why don't you go over the rest of the page 6, since we're going to be discussing the business plan. That gives us an idea where the cash is going and how much is available.
Well, the first item, the sinking fund, that's to pay our bond payments. So we put money in there, and then we pay our bond payments in March. Actually the end of February and the end of August. The third item is our regular improvement fund. We put $50,000 in there a month. The item 4 is the bond, the improvement fund with a bond project. So the money we borrowed from the 15 bonds was in there, but we have paid for everything, and that $19,068 is just kind of sitting there until everything is closed out. The next item is our tank painting fund. We put $26,500 in there every month. And after that is intake cleaning. We're putting $1,000 in there every month. And then the last item is our payment in lieu of taxes fund that we pay to the city. We put $37,000 in there a month. And then every quarter we pay $111,000 to the city.
Now, our take payment fund, that's overfunded significantly, isn't it?
It is.
So we can look at that and consider it for other projects?
Yeah, there's not any more. I mean, I know they're doing a tank this summer, and I think, is that the last one?
That's the last one. What we ought to do, and this would just be my thoughts initially on this, would be to calculate what it's going to we get an approximation from an engineer of what it's going to cost when it's due to paint our next tank, which is going to be probably 15 years. Right. Most paint work is about 15 years, and we just painted the exteriors of both tanks over the last 2 years. So we should figure out how much it's going to cost, and then plan amount of money going into the account to make sure that we have adequate funds for when it's time to paint those tanks the next time. So if we're overfunded significantly right now, maybe we don't have to put in as much every month down the road. So right now, we're putting 26,000 into it. If we have enough money in there for the next 2 paint jobs, then we might.
Yeah, we could transfer money out of that too, can't we?
Money could be transferred out of it. We do have, in the long-term plan, which we were going to get into, there's also, in the event that we get our system south of I-94, we might want to consider installing a tank, and so we could possibly use some of the funds for that as well.
Well, that's what I was thinking, we got that. We were a little concerned last meeting because we got 3 things coming up at the same time that are gonna cost, about $250,000 to $500,000.
Right.
With the funds in this, the overfunding, we could probably do at least 2 of those, if they come up.
We can take a look at, we do have quite a bit also in our improvement fund as well, so, but yeah, we can look at our funds when it comes time to do any of the projects as far as where it needs to come from, just so we don't want to put ourselves in a position that we don't have any money in the paint fund down the road, because 15 years from now, the paint jobs are going to be quite a bit more money than they are today.
All right, any other questions on the financials? All right, someone like to make a motion to approve?
A motion to accept the financial statement of, given by Chris.
I second it.
Motion second that we permit. Then we accept the financial statements of November 2021 as presented. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, contract renewal with American Consulting.
Yes, we have been in contract with American Consulting for, I believe this would be possibly the 4th renewal for this contract. It's renewed every 2 years. American Consulting provides us the service of coming in and being an outside set of eyes to review our facilities for potential hazards and OSHA violations. They would also help us in the event that we did have a visit or an incident with IOSHA that we needed to address. It's been very beneficial. They also have helped us put together our safety program, and they also do our training for our new employees and our existing employees that we're required to do. And this pricing is the same for this 2-year contract as it was for the last 2-year contract.
All right, any questions on the contract?
You were pleased with them, Chris? You like them?
I've been pretty happy with what they've done for us. Every once in a while, we have to push back if there's something we feel like they're being perhaps a little too detailed on, but they'll have that discussion, and they have a bunch of experts, so that helps us out a lot.
Okay.
Is there a certification they give to someone?
They have done our they do our forklift training, which does end up getting a certificate for the forklift training, and then they have done our first aid, but that's been an additional contract because first aid CPR has some additional costs involved, so they do have to do that as separate, but they have done that for us as well.
All right.
I'll make a suggestion. They need to be notified that we're going to be changing our superintendents.
Yes.
Well,
And
it looks like when they wrote the letter, because at first I was reading it too, it looks like when they wrote the letter, he was still in, correct?
Yeah,
And it
correct.
says, "Thank you for your last year of business." So I'm assuming they're talking to Mr. Russell.
That's correct, yes. I've been dealing with them directly for the last 4 years, but they had this set up as Randy because of the fact that he was superintendent and he is.
At the time that they wrote the letter, but they did,
Yeah, and he is still superintendent, so, but,
As long as they're aware that we are changing superintendents, that would be
Yeah.
fine.
yeah, and they are directly in contact with me. The person that sent this had sent it to Randy, and I've taken over the communication with that person.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm only looking at the expiration date, which was 3 days ago.
Yes,
So are they going to, like, so nothing's been happening the last 3 days then?
yeah, but we
Kinda, sort
haven't,
of? There's no
we
need
haven't
for?
had any.
Okay, got it.
So, yeah,
Okay.
if tomorrow they
Right.
showed up and if, let's say tomorrow IOSHA showed up and
Uh-huh.
there was some issue, then as long as we've agreed to this, they'll
Okay.
go on, yeah. they'll
Does
honor it.
OSHA require something like this?
It's not required, but it does help us a lot to make sure, because one of the problems that you have when you do your own safety stuff all the time is that the same eyes look at things all the time. And so what I might walk past or somebody else might walk past because they see it all the time, these folks would see and go, hey, you know, you might want to take care of that so that somebody doesn't get hurt, or it could be considered an OSHA violation. And sometimes it's as simple as housekeeping items that you just, you know, you're used to seeing it all the time, but they see it and they point it out as a potential issue.
Okay.
Need a motion for it?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the contract renewal with American Consulting Environmental and Safety Services.
I'll second it.
Motion second that we approve the contract renewal with American Consulting. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
One thing I will ask though, because I see on the agenda too, that it's from the 9th. So will that be strike and put today's date or not? You know what I mean? How is that handled?
I can ask them, they can change the date, but I mean, in the end, we haven't specifically used their service
Okay.
in the last 3 days, so it's,
Okay,
and then next time this comes up, it'll be,
I guess I was just a stickler because to me, if they see and they know we have our meeting today and it's 3 days after the 9th, it wasn't really approved on the 9th. That's all I was looking for.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't had any issue to cause them to spend any money on
Okay.
travel or anything like that. At this point in time, the only thing that they are scheduled to do for us next is our monthly meeting, which we have on the 3rd.
Of February?
No, we have them on the 3rd,
Oh, the third.
Thursdays.
Okay, got it.
So,
Okay,
And our next payment's not till the 1st of February.
right, is that what,
The
right?
next payment's not till February
630?
1st.
Is it $630 on that day?
Yeah, on February
Yeah.
1st, so
Okay,
we're still in
excellent.
compliance, I take it.
Yeah.
We pay it in advance,
Good.
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
The 2021 business plan.
I provided everybody a new copy of the business plan in your packets. And the reason why is because we did get some additional information that we were able to place into it, and a couple of pieces of information that need to be added. So there were some changed pages, plus I also worked with Chris to get the operating forecast included as well. which you did not have originally. The changes were page 10, where we basically added Janet Johnson, listed as the administrative assistant under the senior management team. And then on page 12, there was a typo at the top of the page that was corrected, but more importantly, Janet was moved up into the administrative assistant position late last year, or later into the year, and Pam Worthington is the customer service cashier, so I put her in there. And then there were a couple numbers that were highlighted under the staffing development that were just cleaned up and corrected for the current situation. Currently composed of 39 people, 23 of whom are represented by United Steelworkers. And then on page 13, the corrections on page 12 caused a page shift on page 13. Plus corrosion control was added to the list of processes. And then on page 14, there was another page shift, and that's all that occurred there. On page 16, the market analysis, we were able to complete the 12-month information for our 10 largest customers, so that's been corrected. And on page 17, made an adjustment to the format to allow the numbers to be clear. And then on the capital improvement replacement program, it was listed on page 24, but in Appendix A, we did just go ahead and add the painting of the backwash tank, the backwash water tower over at the plant, to this capital list, but it will be funded from the tank painting line.
What was that again?
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry, the line added was under booster stations and storage tanks, wash water tank, paint exterior and interior, paid from the tank painting fund. But otherwise, all the other projects listed are the same, no changes to those.
I think, is it on the long sheet in the back?
Yeah, it's on Appendix A, which is the current plus 5-year capital improvement replacement program, the first page. And then I added Appendix B, which is the operating forecast, which has been adjusted for anticipated changes in with Randy's retirement.
All right, anybody have any questions or comments on the plan?
Is there a balloon payment in April of 2021 for salaries and wages?
April.
3 payrolls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 3 payrolls. Okay,
And
thanks.
you'll see the same thing.
That makes sense.
November, I believe, right?
Okay.
October.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Would you like to continue discussing this tonight, or would you like time to discuss yesterday?
That's up to the board's discretion.
I guess that's my question, too.
Okay. Oh,
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine.
When agreement on the business plan is written, then we'll make a motion to accept.
You, Andy?
Pardon me? I'm
You all
fine.
right with it?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
All right. We got a motion.
Okay. I'll motion to accept the business plan of the Department of Waterworks for the 2021 year.
I second it.
All right, there's a motion to accept. Motion and a second that we approve the business plan for 2021. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
thank you. In your packets, I just provided an updated, revised contact list for the water for you all, because there was a typo for Diane's email, so it's corrected.
Thank you.
Randy's still listed because as long as he's superintendent, he'll still be he's still in charge of the department. And then at the very end, I provided the end of 2020 pension fund balance report and then the current pension fund balance report through last week's report. Also, there are letters, copies from what we sent to potential customers in Whitefoot Trail and on Risky Avenue, just to make you aware of who we sent to. We have received 5 responses on Whitefoot Trail so far.
That's good,
But
right? That's not bad.
only 3 have been yeses and 2 have been nos, so see how it goes.
So how many did we send out? How many did we send out?
19. But they had, we did request that they provide in writing a response by next Friday. So that would give us time to review all responses and have a good number for our next meeting.
All right. That was on Whitefoot. That was on Whitefoot.
That was on Whitefoot, and also many responses have been on Whitefoot. Risky because the project is actually initiated by a developer. We did send a letter to the developer. The folks on Risky though we didn't provide them a deadline in the same manner because of the difference in that situation.
Did you send one to the blank management company?
Blank Management was contacted by telephone. Randy spoke to them, and at this point in time, we were not interested.
All right. Any other old business? New business?
I have a question. There's new repairs being done on 421 South. So I'm digging up something today. Do we know what that is?
421 South. Are you talking about down by the Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yeah.
We had the valve there was broken and we had to replace it. It was going back into the shopping mall.
Okay. It was unusual to see him digging up an area that we repaired before, but it was further down, I believe.
Right, and it's on the other, it's completely separate of the main replacement that we did. There's a main on both sides of the road.
Okay, excellent.
All right. Any other new business? Any public comment? Director comments? Someone like to move this to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Everybody wants to second that.
Who was second?
It was a tie-up.
We'll give it the bat this time.
With an enthusiastic,
I
one for Diane.
thought the one